Hello, I'm Michael Orwig, and welcome to the Wizard's Chest. With me today is Lenny Zilke. My wife and I have been working with Lenny for 5 years now in Dawn Yoga. You've been working in Dawn Yoga almost 20 years now, and it's a major part of your life. And we're going to talk today about brain education, meditation for the children, focus for the children, focus for the adults, and a number of different items along those lines. Welcome, Lenny.
Thank you, Michael. Glad to be here.
Tell our audience a little bit about your life in yoga and what yoga has meant to you. I mean, everybody understands the stretching and holding postures and things like that, but there's so much more to it than just that.
Yeah, I found that out to myself. I always thought of yoga as holding postures, and so I was a little leery, but it was yoga Tai Chi, so I thought I'd try the Tai Chi. And I missed the first Tai Chi class, but there was a yoga class, so I thought, well, since I'm here, I might as well try it. And just after that one class, I noticed a little more focus. I noticed my body, yes, a lot, how stiff it was. But there was something different. There was different feeling I had inside after class. So I just started going almost every day. And after about a week, I noticed my body condition changing, and one thing that I noticed was my mental condition had changed. I started to not react to things that normally would set me off, and I almost started to observe myself and see myself changing. So after months of the practice, I just started noticing more and more things, more permanent things, instead of just feeling great after class, and then it's sort of dissipating after a couple of hours or so. It was staying with me. So just noticed that my brain was changing.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now, we've been studying Dawn Yoga with you. It's a Korean version developed by Ilchi Lee.
Right.
Did you start in more of the Indian traditional yogas, or did you start initially straight came across the Dawn Yoga? Was your initial one, or one of the other ones
first? That was my initial. Because I saw, I saw videos, I saw pictures of more of I don't know if I want to call it Eastern. Eastern probably be a little bit different than how it's been westernized. Mostly just focusing on beginner poses, advanced poses, and trying to work from beginner to advanced. So this was so much more different. It's more of, really coming into the body and just feeling the body during the stretches. We do meridian stretches instead of poses, and guiding one in to experience what's going on in their body and seeing that you can operate your body. That's your body, it's your brain, and that you're the owner of it, and that you can manage all of your conditions inside as you come inside.
And so much of your focus is on getting us to be present in the moment,
right,
and feel. Constantly, it's feel what your body's experiencing and going through. Whereas just exercise, you mentioned, is really in many ways external. It's an external experience in a competition or whatever. You're not really focused on feeling internally in the middle of a regular sport that we have. Whereas your focus is constantly on bringing us inward, inward, inward. What about the kids today? Because that's a major part that you had talked about, is the young adults of today, the children of today, aren't present in their body. And how does your practice really help with getting it back focused within, not all of the external stimulus?
Yeah, so what we do also, usually with the kids, we do, to get a good baseline, we do a checkup. So we'll check and see like how many sit-ups they can do, how many push-ups they can do, how long they can stand on one leg, and just get a good baseline, not to judge. Usually, everything is based on judging. Here it's just this is what is. It's not good or bad. This is just where you're at, and then having goals. So like if we meet them one week and we'll meet them next week, so we'll ask them, well, how many push-ups, how many sit-ups do you want to do by next time we meet? So it gives them some goal, so they start to set a goal, and then as they have something to work for. Usually we don't have goals. We have a goal here, like I want to be happy or healthy or peaceful, but we don't have any roadmap to achieve it. We don't really set like, okay, here's my goal, now how am I going to achieve it? So with the kids, we want to have them have a goal, like with the sit-ups and push-ups, and then their brain is actively start to participate. So they're connecting their brain and their body together.
How early do you like to see kids start in these type activities?
Usually around 5 or 6 years old. Beyond that, just let kids play. We put kids, I think, in school too early, and so they're ready. They're competing for attention, from their teachers. So they can have a lot of stress at a very young age already.
You got some favorite playing games that you've had really good luck with the kids?
There's just with the once we start with kids, we play games that work kids with each other.
Mm-hmm. So it's cooperation based.
Yeah, and it's connection. It's connection with each other. And then there's the activation of I don't know. There's a natural reaction when people work together physically. There's a connection there, and so we do stretches together. The kids do partner stretches, and they do things that will challenge them, and it's not to score, but it's just to have fun doing it. So we do some games like where they're back to back, and then they clap their hands once, and then they turn, and then they clap each other's hands, and they come back and clap again, and then they go to the other side. So there's physical activity with it, brain activity, brain with the body. So once they bring their brain into their body, they reconnect with a lot of what they have.
And I can attest that a lot of the exercises we do in your class, you're doing, you feel comfortable doing it with the right side, but doing it in reverse mode, you're a complete bumbling, or whatever.
Right.
Whether it's simple as crossing your legs differently, we don't realize how stuck we are in our patterns sometimes, and so much of what we do in class may on the surface seem very simple, but no, it's rewiring the brain to be balanced left brain, right brain, not, unfortunately, the way we see with schools, everything's left brain dominant, and no, we are not wired for that. We are wired for a synergy of energy moving between the left brain, right brain, and that's been a huge focus. But back to the comparison, one of the things that you have us do all the time is talk to our body. In a positive mode, we have no problem talking to our body in a less than
so
respectful,
kind.
kind mode, but we talk to virtually every body part we have during class. Did you develop that by yourself? Was that Ilchi Lee's kind of technique? Where did that come from within your training and everything along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, even when I went to my first class, and it's amazing how embarrassed you feel saying I love my brain or I love my shoulders.
Well, how about I love my armpit?
Right.
I mean, funny
Right,
things.
yeah.
It's okay to love your feet, not a big deal.
Right.
But something unusual, like not even the organs. That's nothing too bad.
Right.
But not many people speak of loving their armpit.
Right. So there should be, when you're doing something, you need to. I feel really need to connect with your body, and why not have fun? Your body is a tool, and we want to keep our tool in good shape. So why not have fun? I think if you're doing something, for myself, I was a big runner, and I exercised a lot, but without any mindfulness. I knew, oh, this is good and healthy for me, but it wasn't always that I enjoyed it. And what I discovered, I think, later on is that if you do something to make yourself healthy, but you hate doing it, it's more harmful to you than it is good. So,
But that's a wonderful point. Because as an athlete, I grew up. None of our exercise was done from a mindful. It was done from a competition based. Never cooperation or mindful or anything along those lines. Now, certain team sports did have certainly a level of team building side, but still a great deal of many of the exercises was just push yourself physically, not that feeling of the mindful. Now, they may have done pushing your mind to see the level of stress you could handle, excuse me, but that's not mindfulness. Talk just a little bit more about the mindfulness side and the cooperation that you guys have been able to integrate in, and both for the adults and some of the different techniques that you've seen in the schools that Ilchi Lee has been able to introduce. It's the Ben Franklin school system that they've been able to introduce in Central America and in the U.S. and different brain integration, in essence, programs they've been able to introduce, and a lot of it is part of that. But
so the main thing is we really don't spend much time inside the body. So everything that we do is first step. There's a 5-step to brain education, becoming master of your body, mind, and spirit. So first one is sensitizing. So how do you sensitize? You feel your body. Not just think about it, but you feel it. So whenever you're moving your body, you're stretching your body, you're breathing, what do you feel? So that's the first step. We're not sensitive. I ran, and I could run. I get runner's high, but I wasn't really listening to my body. Sometimes after I finished, or even during my running, I'd get hurt.
if I was sore or hurt something, then I pay attention to it.
Right.
But without that, no, you wouldn't. Only unless something was feeling uncomfortable were you triggered.
So that's that mind. Yeah. Second step is versatilizing. So it's starting to make changes. Your brain is neuroplastic, right? It can change.
We're rewiring the neurons with neuroplasticity.
Right.
And unfortunately, my generation grew up with the key phrase of, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Right.
Well, you can. And what we have to rewire the brain. And part of that is being open to changing our belief structures. If we believe we can't, we all have heard that saying, I guarantee you can't. It's as simple as that.
That's right.
But within the versatility, how did you guys, what kind of exercises or techniques have you guys employed with that?
So I think the main thing is to be aware. We always want to be comfortable. So doing different things. you know, like we do left hand, right hand. Yeah, if you're right hand, it's very uncomfortable doing something with your left hand. And for a lot of people, we strive just to be comfortable. So there's no change. Even though we want to change, we want to live in a comfortable space. So main thing is the more discomfort you have, not pain, but discomfort in doing something, the more your brain will grow. The more you challenge your brain, just like you challenge your body, the stronger it becomes. And the more different movements you make in your body, the more connections you make in your brain. So that's the part of the versatilizing, you know. But most of us, "Oh, I'm not very good at it," so we stop doing it. So I used to tell my kids, I said, if you don't ask, you already have a no. So it never hurts to ask. You might get a no, you might get a yes, but if you don't ask, you have a no already.
So what's the third?
So third is refreshing. Refreshing again is all. This is all about rewiring the brain. So refreshing is to be able to bring up, even when we're stretching, a lot of times there's an emotion attached with the tension and pain we have in our body. There's injuries too that we have, physical injuries, but a lot of it is associated with emotion. And so sometimes we can be doing a stretch and we feel sadness or anger. We don't have to just go and look at it. It just comes up, and sometimes we'll have a memory of what happened.
One of the techniques I've used in your class frequently in the middle of a stretch, when I hit I don't want to say a stopping point, but my stretch is gone, I'm hitting the resistance levels,
Right.
is I go into forgiveness. And it's so interesting just to feel my body start to relax a whole nother level. It may feel huge, and my leg may move only a fraction of an inch, but I can easily feel that whole level kick in by just going something into forgiveness. And I'm not focused on being in forgiveness of a particular memory, emotion, or whatever. Just the act of being in that mode, and then gratitude. It's amazing how the body relaxes in that mode versus a stress mode type thing.
In fact, the first thing that's relaxing is your brain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because your information first into the brain, and then the body responds with the brain.
And we tap around our head
Around our head and body.
all the time to break up blockages. And we have the movement class on Friday where we're tapping all over the body. But most people have never considered, and of course I've got very little hair for resistance here.
You have to tap more.
But you have us tapping to awaken the brain all the time, and it feels very good. And we'll come back to step 4, but one of the games you had mentioned is the 360 game.
Right.
And when someone makes a mistake, you have the entire group tap on them. And so within that, we do a lot of very gentle tapping, and it's not harmful, it's not disrespectful in any way if I was to tap on another person. And you've been able to incorporate this in schools without any problem whatsoever in different group classes with the kids. And it's just a very interesting aspect. EFT is emotional release,
Right.
using tap technique, isn't it?
Absolutely. So a lot of times too, when we're tapping, so a lot of times we try to use positive affirmations, to either experience something different, get rid of one of the emotions that we look at as being bad. There's no bad emotions. Emotions have a different character. The energy character is different. So sadness and fear, a little heavier character to that kind of energy. And then, joy, forgiveness, and peace, it's a lighter, brighter energy, right? Doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just different characters of the energy. So I think the most important thing is to not label. It's just what is. I'm feeling sad. That's what I'm experiencing right now. I'm not just sadness. I'm just experiencing in this moment sadness. From there you reach a point of observer mind, and then you can choose. Oh, do I want to stay here, or do I want to change the character of this energy? So the tapping is very effective during that time. So if you want to release and change the energy of fear, I'm experiencing fear right now, you can start to tap your body. Fear is not me, it's mine. I choose to let go of it. So you're implementing what? Not just here, but your body. Because your body experiences the emotion, right? It's not just your brain, it's your body that's experiencing it. So the same way.
So number 4
is integration.
Okay. Integration is always tremendously important.
Yes, very important. That's the hardest part. Because usually we can experience things, but we need to integrate it, make it permanent. Not just in the brain, but the body. So I tell people, you can feel a huge difference quickly in class, but it's like anything, then you gotta go and live in the real world again. So it disappears quickly. You go back into your emotions and follow your emotions. So that's why continual practice every day. I give homework, as you know. Part of the homework is to continue to integrate into your body and into your brain, to make permanent. Otherwise it's temporary. It's like if you come to class, for a month, life seems pretty good, but then you stop coming to class, then things start to disappear again.
So yes, integration is tremendously important. And the 5th one?
5th one is mastery.
Oh, that's a whole nother matter, isn't it?
Yeah, well, you have to look at your brain as whose brain?
It's my brain.
Right. Your body is whose body?
Well, it's my wife's body.
Yeah. But in general, we don't think about that, right? My body's my brain, my body. My brain is my brain. But usually just follow. It's like there's some entity that's controlling our brain and body. So we always say my body's not me, it's mine. My brain is not me, it's mine. My emotions are not me, they're mine. So we want that separation. Then that's what we work for, is being master. Take back your brain, take back your body. Right? We give it away, we give it away, we give it away to our doctors and everything else out there. We have the ability to heal. We have the ability to heal. I mean, our body's already healing, right? We get a break, we get a cut. Amazing, right? Now just think if we focus more internally and activate more of that healing power that we have the healing ability. Everyone does. You don't have to be special to have that.
As an intuitive healer, and let's play with that a little bit.
Okay.
As an intuitive healer, you've had a lot of practice over 2 decades in working with all kinds of different people. And the kids today, you've seen some consistent patterns. Any particular ones that jump out at you that are most relevant maybe for today's generation and the kids, and that parents could implement that you think would be the most helpful to take a look at in different ways, both as something to do, but also, of course, supplement and nutrition-wise?
Any way you can keep them sensitive to their body.
Okay.
Is the biggest thing,
And a lot of the foods desensitize them.
It does. I think that when you're playing with kids, when they're very young, have them actively participating with their body, feeling their body. So you can get on the floor and you can tap with them, right? When you tap, where's your mind, right? It's not focused on watching cartoons or focusing on something out here. It's focusing what? On themselves.
And isn't that a lot of one of the most important reasons for being out in nature more? Is you're tapped into an incredible energetic environment that's outside of this, your house, your home, the falseness of the city, whatever. It's a not a true reality. It's a made reality. Whereas getting out in nature helps with that sensitivity to be able to break down some of the separation barriers, to connect with a flower. And I mean really connect with the flower. My wife and I went to Sequoia National Park, and to connect with a 2,000-year-old sequoia is an amazing experience that you cannot even remotely explain. But you can connect with the most simple stone or a beautiful outcropping if you like big or whatever. And it's all about being one with the world around us, and certainly being one with our body is part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you smell a flower, right? That's one of the easiest ways to connect. You smell that flower, and then you're really one with it. That's what we need. This physical body comes from this earth, and that's one of the biggest things too. We want people to recognize that the earth, gives us everything we need. It gives us our water, it gives us our air, it gives us our food, and what do we give it back? So our health condition is a good example of what the earth condition is. So as we heal the earth, then naturally we'll heal our physical body too, and even spiritual body. There's a spirit that's in this planet that we're connected with too. So that's one of the most important things. That's one of the most common things that we have together, everybody on this planet. We call Earth citizen, right? Yeah, some of us might think we came from another planet, but I mean right now we live on this planet, and that's one common thing that we all have. And so I think the main focus, I think even with this practice, is to help to heal the earth at the same time we heal ourselves. So it's a win-win situation. As we heal the earth, we heal ourselves. As we heal ourselves, we heal the earth.
So if a mother came to you and said, my 10-year-old son has been diagnosed with ADHD, can you help him?
I feel like I can, yeah.
So what would be your process in yourself, things that you would look for, things that you would offer to the parent to adjust? How would be, walk me through your process in how, as a healing intuitive, what would you be looking for to try to get a sense of feel of both in the parents and in the child?
So I think become an observer, not to judge, but to observe and really see and then feel, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to trust myself too in interpreting that, and then also finding a way. There's not like one way that's going to work for everyone. You find a way that works for both that child and for that parent. I think it's not just the child, it's the parent and the child and the energy that's created amongst them. And so the important thing again is to bring the parents inside, the child inside. We have something we're born with, and when you come inside you can discover that. In order to make a change outside, we have to come inside first.
Mm-hmm. Any specific cases, and every person is unique, so
Mhm.
each case is unique. But have you seen a pattern in some of the different individuals you worked with over the years that may give a parent some idea of something to maybe look at and see if it feels right for them?
I mean, same basic, simple thing as any way you can find for them to be present. And the easiest way and quickest way is their body.
Any particular deficiencies in the body you're seeing, like the iodine or other things like that?
You know, it's hard. It's hard to say. I mean, there's many reasons. Yes, diet is a big factor too. I think the most important factor is gut health. Because gut health, you know, we don't realize, but 95% of the serotonin that's released is released in the gut. 50% of the dopamine is released in the gut. Our immune system, 80% of our immune system associated with gut. So that's one big thing that we always focus on is gut health. And it's not just from eating the right foods. Gut health is related to how we manage our stress and our emotions. So that's one of the main things too we want to do is learn how to manage our stress and emotions.
Do you do any cleanses or clearing for yourself in regard to that every year, or do you work in that? I would think you do, but what have you found that worked well for you in that regard?
I don't really do any cleanses. I mean, I do more physical things to cleanse my body, both
Okay.
of the emotions and the toxins. I don't do any like specific things. Some of the things that I do to cleanse the energy from my body, both physical and emotional, is through we call yandan. It's holding a pose, many different poses. When you hold something for 20 minutes or longer, we call it yandan.
That's a long time.
It seems at first like it's a long time. After receiving the benefits from doing it, your brain changes. When you do something and you really experience a change, then it's easy to do. When we first do it, we have lots of perceptions about it, but once we do it and we experience the changes that occur after it, then we have no problem. Our brain changes and it's like it's not much of a challenge anymore. So we call it yandan. Yandan means burning. It's like you hold that pose. We do sleeping lion or sleeping tiger, right? It's a accumulation exercise, but it's also very healing. So when you do that and hold that for about 20 minutes, then you create the yandan, all the cells and everything in your body. So it's not a physical thing, it's more of an energy thing. But our brain gets in the way. So we have to stay down into our center in order to achieve that.
I will vouch that Sleeping Lion I have not yet accomplished anywhere near 20 minutes. I'd say the longest I've done would be in the 5 to 10. But 20, I've never even come close. But
Well, I think we should try it sometime. Yes.
we'll let me know how it works for you. But no, that's good. In the remaining time we have left, I wanted to talk a little bit about you with your kids. You have two kids, a son and a daughter,
Right.
17 and 20.
Yes.
But for you, one of the more interesting things is how you've modeled a conscious lifestyle for them. You started your yoga training back when they were both very small children. One was 2 and one wasn't even.
Maybe 6
One
months.
was in the womb.
Yeah.
Talk about things that worked well for you and Karen and how you integrated a lot of your understandings as they grew up, but also definitely because obviously you started when Karen was pregnant with your daughter as a 17-year-old, right?
Yeah, daughter's 17. Yeah.
What goes on in a pregnant mother would be very interesting to go into as well. But 1 minute.
Right.
Talk a little bit about certainly how you've modeled for your kids an awareness lifestyle.
I think basically it's a lot simpler than we think. I think modeling, like you said, is what you do, how you live your life. They're not going to learn through the conversations you have with them. It's going to be more, they pick up everything through what they see and what they hear, but not what you say. So it's what you do. And so I'll always becoming more, I'm an observer of myself through this practice, not to judge. Usually when we observe ourselves, we judge. This is just to observe myself and notice, at this moment, this is what I'm doing. Oh, okay, do I want to change it or not? We have a choice. And I think living from that place. And so I think that's the best way to model. We're all, as parents, we're all modeling. So, but again, that mindfulness, how am I modeling to my kids is the most important thing. So being in the state of being mindful, having your focus present. You can do many things while you're still present.
So we're just about out of time, Lenny. Absolute pleasure being with you, and of course we have many lunches and get to talk about all these different things. Any parting shots, any last thoughts before we sign off for today? Anything you want to add in?
I think there's two consciousnesses that we have. One is victim consciousness, one is master consciousness. Which one do you want to live in? You have a choice. So my recommendation is feed the one that you want to grow the most.
It's a good thought. And for people that would like to get in touch with you, you have your body and brain center in
Littleton.
Is that Littleton, or I was going to say Lakewood? That's Littleton, Colorado.
Littleton, yes.
And a phone number that they can contact you if they'd like to come by the studio.
Absolutely, I would enjoy having a conversation with them and see how I can serve them.
Lenny, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Enjoyed my
We'll have to do this again. And
I'll elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll see you in the studio.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.